Good evening, YouTube. Good morning or good night, where Twitter you're at. This is your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bottom Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. So, folks, I got another interview this week. This is the first interview it's the first interview for this full week. I had an interview last week at the end of the 1st of February, but this is the first interview for this week. So I have here a lovely lady who who double dipped last year. She did both figure and physique. This is the lovely Miss Blanca Rodrigues. She is been competing for a while. She turned pro in 2021, the same year as one of my favorite bodybuilders turned pro. That's Chelsea Dion, and at Nationals. So we're going to talk to the lovely Mrs. Rodrigues, and actually share her story was how she started sport of bodybuilding, what her plans on for 2024, and just have a little fun and a little conversation here. So, Senora, as I will ask you this question, this is a question I ask a lot of ladies who got in the sport. What got such a lovely like yourself in the sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity? Please share.
Well, that actually started at a very young age. It sounds strange, but Terminator 2, I remember I was like maybe in like second grade when that movie came out. And I remember seeing Linda Hamilton repping out pull-ups. And I had never really seen, like a muscular woman before, or even a woman doing pull-ups the way she was doing it. And that, to me, I remember I was so young, but it just like stayed with me. And I was like, wow, like I want to be able to do that. Like I want like shoulders like that, And but really what really got me into it was I got my first gym membership when I was 17. I was a senior in high school, and it was up in New Jersey, and it was like a bodybuilder gym. And I saw like the competition posters up on the walls. And I remember looking at them at the time and just being like, I want to do that one day. It took a long while before I got on the stage, but the seed was planted at a very young age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, when that movie came out, I was already in high school, so I know she was second grade. I was in high school, and yeah, Linda Hamilton. I think she really gave that women who are into maybe building their bodies. I think she's one of the women that really inspired, especially around about the 90s. I think I would call the 90s for women's bodybuilding. I would say it was like a silver age. You had Linda Murray coming up. You had Lord Val, several ladies who are now legends in the sport, and just being so young and just fall in love with just seeing how a woman changes her body, and just transform it. We got here my brother here coming through. He does content also in May. It's my man KL DeWarden says, hey, yeah, hey, Fat Albert. And also this is he says this, Linda Hamilton, what it to you in the scene the world was coming to an end. Yeah, I know that was in Terminator 2. Then she come back in the last Terminator movie, which she didn't like too much. So now you did powerlifting, and pretty much I see quite a few competitors who started out in powerlifting and this transition to bodybuilding.
Yeah, powerlifting kind of just happened. I had started kind of training at like a powerlifting gym. I became a personal trainer, so I was training clients there. I was seeing the powerlifting that was going on. I wanted to do a bodybuilding show. I just didn't have the muscle at the time for it. So powerlifting gave me all the muscle I wanted and more, because, for me, I didn't want to get on stage and do bikini. I just knew that wasn't the division for me, that I wanted to at least get up and be able to have enough muscle to do figure and be competitive. So I knew that I didn't have the shape for it. I'm kind of, I don't have the ideal upper body for that. So, I was like, I'm just going to put in the time and building the muscle. And I kind of just started powerlifting, and I realized how strong I was. And I was like, wow, I could really take this to like the top level, which I did. It happened very quickly. I mean, I think I competed a total of 5 years, and pretty much all that time was, at the top of 3 different weight classes. So, that's in the world all time. So, it fell down that rabbit hole, and, to be a pro you've got to give everything you have. So I knew that I couldn't, spend some time bodybuilding and then doing powerlifting, even though the way I did my powerlifting training was a little different than others. I was basically doing power building the whole time, which gave me this physique that was not common in the powerlifting circuit in the community. Because, usually people, want to eat and they don't really have an ideal like muscular shape or cut. So I was doing pretty big weight cuts, which allowed me to really change my physique. I mean, when I would get on the platform to powerlift at competitions, I mean, people would call me like the bodybuilder because I didn't look like the rest of the women competing. I think that really prepared me mentally for the dieting that's required at the pro level in bodybuilding.
That's the one thing people got to remember about, that bodybuilding is just not like just eating anything you want. You have to follow a specific diet. I know, one thing also, some ladies do count your macros. Some foods you cannot eat, like you can't have too much of fats, too much of sugars. You have to have a moderate amount, especially protein is very important. I did an interview with a young lady who's a vegan bodybuilder. She competes in wellness, she's an amateur, and the different, whatever works for one person may not work for the other, especially as women, you are biologically different compared to men. What works for a guy can't work for women. We are here from a man, my man Omar Cosmo coming through, says, "Hello, beauty." And I'm telling you this, Blanca, we when I get a new girl in here, these guys act like the episode of Chappelle Show when Charlie Murphy meets Prince and that guy Nikki Free. And we thought Nikki Free was a female and said, yo, Prince, yo, Shalma got a new girl. She finds a motherfucker. That's how they act when I get a new girl in here.
That's great. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. So, and after, what made you finally just say, go all into bodybuilding after your powerlifting career?
Well, the thing with powerlifting, especially at the top level, it's really a lot of wear and tear on your body. The gains come pretty quickly, training hard consistently all year, the first couple years, but you get to a point where you're lifting weights that technically your body shouldn't be lifting. Joint pain, mobility issues were kind of catching up to me. I ended up getting a rotator cuff tear towards the end. My last competition, I knew that something was up. And I went in and I benched anyway in the competition, and it was torn rotator cuff. So at that point I knew it's like, I had already accomplished everything I had set out to do. So I was kind of like, why am I doing this now? Maybe it's time to move on to do something different and evolve and finally get to bodybuilding. And I started kind of poking around and kind of seeing the different divisions. And then I was like, wow, I think that I actually have enough dense quality muscle to do physique. And that's really where my heart was, because, being able to do like the posing and things like that. And I was extremely proud of the muscle that I built in powerlifting. And I'm an example that, you can lift heavy and still put on a lot of muscle without, training to failure and doing a lot of the things that the bodybuilders do, even though I will say that like the pro stage is a completely different world. So now I do very, very little powerlifting movements, even though I do keep it in to keep my muscles dense and things like that. And I do still enjoy it. But, on the pro level, it's like you really got to work on the little weaknesses.
Yeah, because I know talk to some ladies that, especially when you get judged by the judges, they'll tell you, okay, you might need to fix that, you might need to fix that, this and that. What was your first show, and what was the critique from the judges from that show?
My first show, I did the Hurricane Pro, which is also an amateur show here in St. Pete. I did that in 2021. That was my first show, and I won the overall for women's physique. So they were obviously telling me, I'll bring in conditioning a little more and things like that, but there really wasn't much to say from the judges, being that, I had won the overall. And then my second show was nationals, which the judge wrote me that, for the pro stage, I would need to be a little bit more conditioned. And that I had to really work on my posing. But that's all I had gotten from the judges at nationals. So I went into my pro debut, pretty confident. But I also was, humbled finally being on that pro stage and realizing everybody up there has a complete physique for the most part. Everybody's going to come in condition for the most part. So it's a whole different ball game. I think that if I would have done it again, I would have taken a little bit more time in between getting my pro card and my pro debut.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they compare say they want to jump into fire. I know there's some ladies that does shows that they got their pro card. One example is a lady who I follow on social media. That's Hunter Henderson. She
Mhm.
debuted as a bodybuilder in 2021. Then got her pro card at USA's, and then took second to Mona Persolate at Tampa. And I think if you, I interviewed a young lady who also did like you. She made her pro debut in 2021, got a pro card. It's a friend of hers, Amanda Santos, and she's going to take the time and grow and develop. And that's important. But sometimes, especially some competitors who've been competing for lots of years in the NPC, I know ladies have done 20, 15 years, and they find, what? I don't want to sit around. I've been sitting this long. I might as well just go ahead and just jump in the fire and see and test myself.
Mhm. And that was my mentality too. It went so well the first couple shows. I had performed so well in powerlifting that I was used to going to the big meets, being a pro, that I was like, okay, well, let's just, keep it going, especially since I hadn't really gotten any real critiques from the judge at nationals. He was just like, you're a great candidate for the pro stage. The posing really does need work, which it did. I mean, I look back on those pictures and I'm like almost embarrassed, but again, I had no real experience going into it. And now really realizing how important the posing truly is. So, even in that regard, being alongside women, on the pro stage that had been posing for years and were comfortable and knew how to kind of like present their body, I've gotten a lot better, but it's something that's a huge focus of mine now. Like even in the off season, I'm practicing my posing, trying to look at my pictures and seeing how could I present myself better.
Hmm. And who's your coach right now? Who you working with? For this year, or
Well, right now I'm kind of on my own. It's something that now in the off season, I feel like I kind of need to still keep checking all the boxes, but I kind of like to do that on my own. Um, but I was working with John Ballard my last couple of shows this season, which I wasn't expecting to compete at all. It was one of those things where I kind of started dieting and it was going very well. And I was like, I think I want to do a couple of shows. I had an interest in figure, so I wanted to at least try a figure show. So John trains out of MI40. He's an up and coming coach. So because I see him every day, I was like, all right, let's work together. And it went very well. I mean, to be honest with you, that was like the best peak that I had done, where I was conditioned but also kept my size.
Yeah, and you like to say you double dip. You did figure and you did physique, and you look at the divisions now. Where I keep saying this, the divisions between women's bodybuilding, physique, and figure are just starting to kind of thin out a little bit. Where you look at people like you look at people, especially like some ladies who I follow, like Lola Montez. If you look at her, if you look at you competed with stage with this one lady, Natalia Cuejo, where you competed
Mhm.
at at the Atlantic show, and you look at Andrea and some of the other women in the bodybuilding divisions, and you think that this is going to be more of a crossover in the future for competitors. I know I did an interview with a young lady who I know, Angela Norrie. She double dipped last year also. She competed in Masters. She did also physique and figure.
Mhm. Yeah, it's something that I just wanted to try because, again, like with these divisions, with women's physique, when I got onto the pro stage, I'm like, wow, like I'm pretty small and petite compared to a lot of these women, and then this is where now I'm kind of like, okay, well, what's the difference between bodybuilding now and physique, and me personally, I don't want to add too much size to my frame. Like I feel like I'm at an age now, like I'm 40 years old, I am still kind of like an athlete. So I don't want to, pack on all this muscle for the stage. I want to fill in the gaps in my weak areas, but I don't know how much size I can bring. So I was telling myself, okay, well, maybe figure would be a better spot for you, especially since I've got that muscle maturity and things like that. And I thought I had a good shape for it. I'm glad I tried it. I did the Daytona Pro. It didn't go well for me at all because I have a narrow clavicle, so like I don't have the shape that the judges are looking for. And I thought going into it, okay, well, I may not have the broadest shoulders up on that stage, but I have a pretty small waist. I do have a decent shape, and then my muscle density I felt would kind of stand out. But then I, at least at that show, I quickly realized that the main thing for figure is shape. And I can deal with, losing to somebody oversized, I can't do anything about my genetics and the way I'm built. So for me, I made a very quick decision after that show that I'm not built for that division. My genetics are playing or against me in that one. Whereas in physique, it's not my genetics. It's how much am I willing to push, the adding muscle. And coming in, very conditioned, which I was like, okay, well, at least I won't have that much pressure to come in like peeled for figure. But then also it was one of those things where as the prep went on and I was confined to those quarter turns, I didn't like all the posing for women's physique before, but then I started to miss it because I realized like I could present my physique so much better in these poses, like my back double bicep shows off my back, my posterior in a way that like the relaxed pose just doesn't. So, when the women were lining up for women's physique at that show, I took a look at them and I was like, I think that's where I belong. So it was one of those things where even before I got up on the stage, I was like, okay, well, let's see how this show goes. I've given it my all. But it was one of those things that when it was over, I was like, all right, I need to at least do a women's physique show to wrap up this season, which I did.
Yeah, and also the clean heels. The heels, that's the thing. You stand in those heels, and walking around and moving around. I know some ladies who do figure, they say they love their heels, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's me as a man. I don't know. I used to work in a strip club, and I understand what the purpose of the clean heels are, because especially it makes you look like you're more taller, stands up a little higher. Mm-hmm. And you talk about doing bikini, as you know, with bikini, you have to have a certain look, a certain conditioning, and also one thing like you have to have something, top two, because it's the like this is how I compare the two divisions, wellness and bikini. They're the TNA divisions. They're divisions that everybody is more the standard we see of women femininity, not too much muscle, but just enough where it's athletic. We got here my man Lawrence Perkins coming through. Lawrence saying, shout out to Lawrence, says, good evening to Cuban Barbie, Blanca, George, and everyone in the chat. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you coming through. He's a big supporter of you ladies. So, folks, we're going to go in her social media for a bit. She's going to her IG and look at some stuff. Guys, if you follow her information is in the description in this video. You want to check her out and follow her. But this is something I say, Blanca, and it's not for you. It's out there to you guys out here. Guys, most definitely, this is something I keep telling you guys verbatim. No D pics. Stop it. Get some help. Don't do it. Yeah. I understand. You see ladies like you're like a beautiful woman like Blanca. You get a little excited, you get a little tickle in your pickle, but come on, have some common sense. I mean, that's why I tell these guys out there, you schmoes. So anyway, we're here, and you're a coach and trainer too, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and this is your brand right here, Body by Blanca.
I myself. I used to coach strength and conditioning athletes, powerlifting, and obviously since I've moved on and now I'm in bodybuilding, and I really have a passion for lifestyle coaching, which is also what I do and I really enjoy.
Yeah, I guess nice pictures here. This is one. I like the lighting.
And I had that done 6 weeks after my show, which is not usually a time that competitors get photographed. But, I'm just really happy with my off-season look as well as in-season now.
Yeah, because usually most of the time they like to photograph you girls right after the shows because, that's when y'all ladies are most shredded, you're pumped, you're tanned, you're oiled up. But we all know also that's when your ladies are the weakest, you're tired, you're deprived, you're hungry, it's a lot. But, there's a small stage where you ladies rock hard, we're rock hard. That's what we get excited about when you're on stage and you're competing. We're going to go some more here and some more poses here. What's your favorite pose when you're on stage as a physique competitor?
You know what? I've got to say the back double bicep. Mm-hmm. I just love showing off my entire posterior. I think it's like a very powerful pose. So the back double.
Mm-hmm. I know some ladies say that's the favorite, or the front double, or the least favorite is the ab and thigh because they feel like they have to squeeze so much, But hey, that's one of the poses that is standard to the show. Here it is. She's going to give her a little conversation with Blanca right here.
Hey fam. So if your gym happens to have a pendulum,
I think that was a power squat video.
And it's a great piece of equipment that's extremely versatile. You can do a number of different exercises on it for leg day.
The first exercise is the regular squat. Load the bottom to target the quads, load the top to focus on hamstrings and glutes. If you really, really want to light up the quads, throw a wedge on there for increased range of motion. Just make sure that you keep your chest up the entire time. Next, we have the good morning. Love doing this one on here because that pad will move with your body, which makes us even more comfortable on this machine. Focusing on the posterior chain right there. Last are lunges. You'll be really locked in doing these on this machine.
Hey,
So,
fam.
which is your when you're working out? What's your favorite exercise? What's your least favorite exercise?
Oh, let's see. I love a good leg day. So I mean, if I could, get in any type of squatting, whether it's on with a barbell or on a machine, the pendulum squat machine is great. The hack squat, I absolutely love. I actually I love legs so much. It was tough to prioritize upper body this off season, but I'm learning to love it.
You're a mutant. You're a freak. Because anybody who I ask is probably one of three people. I did an interview with Tiana Flex. She says she loves leg day. I did an interview with a young lady by the name of she also loves leg day. I mean, most bodybuilders don't like leg day. They if they can, they rather avoid it. They rather not do it. But it's important about develop. You have to have that complete physique. And what's your least favorite?
Least favorite. Um, I really disliked arm training up until now. Now I've kind of come around a little bit to it, but for the longest I really disliked arm training.
Well, that's the most important. You gotta have good arms. You gotta get those. You gotta have some guns. And when we come to the gun show, and this is your mother and your aunt. Which is which? Because they look about alike. Are
Oh,
they twins?
oh no, everybody thinks they're twins. No, they're not twins, actually. My mother is on my right in the picture. So she's wearing the shirt with like the flowers on it or whatever she has on it.
Yeah, and your aunt's right behind you. Yeah, that could
Yes,
be
she's wearing the
confusing.
jacket on. Yeah.
And
And that's
what was that? What was that?
Bernie.
Yeah, what was that conversation when you started? Well, hey, mommy, I'm going to go over to bodybuilding. What was the conversation like?
Well, she obviously knew of my powerlifting and stuff, so it was kind of like having to explain to her the differences of both. But she really obviously likes bodybuilding a lot more for me. Just being a typical mom, she gets worried about the heavy weights and lifting and all that stuff. So I think it was kind of a relief for her to see me now in bodybuilding. And then also, being able to see me on stage all glammed up with, the hair done, the makeup, she really enjoys that.
Yeah, because you know what, I think a lot of, well, especially some people I've done interviews with, especially the women, they have issues with sometimes their family don't feel comfortable with them being in something because, especially if you're like if your father say like I had a girl, not a boy, I don't want no boy, but if it's good that you have that support with your family, it's because like I said, it can be tough for a lot of other people. Here we have here. This is my man, Balls Deep. You gotta be careful, Balls Deep. He says, "What up, and salute, George. Thank you." Also, he like to says, "Good evening, gorgeous." He's a fan. He says, "Chicago in here." Also, thank you for saying. He says, "Smash the like button."
Oh
Appreciate that,
yeah.
Balls Deep. Also, he says, "Peace and blessings, beautiful." Like I said again,
Oh,
Blanca,
thank
when I
you. I
get these
appreciate
girls, when I get these new girls in here, you're like Nikki Free. So she always got a new girl. She's fine as a motherfucker. Also, it's from my man Lawrence Perkins. He says, "I'm proud of you to inspire others around, including myself as well."
Oh
And
yeah, Lawrence
that's
is a big
good.
fan of mine. I always enjoy his comments and things like that. He's a huge supporter, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's good that we have guys like Lawrence Perkins and all these guys. But also got to say that people out there in the real world don't understand the sport of bodybuilding. It's a fringe sport. I remember back in the day, bodybuilding used to be on television. You could catch it on network television,
Oh
ESPN,
wow.
Fox Sports. But in the last few years, you can mostly catch it on online or you can watch it on the pay-per-views. And it's tough, as you know. One thing is to have again the expense, especially for you. It costs you ladies more to compete compared to the men. The guys, they get a banana hammock and a pair of board shorts Why you ladies have to have your hair, your makeup done, your tanning, your suits, the
The suit is so
food.
expensive.
Yeah, suits. I mean, one lady I do review said that the cheapest suit can maybe like $300, but it won't be that good. You have to pay almost a couple of thousand for a really decent suit. And I know one lady said she had like 6 suits and she don't want to, give them away just yet. And she's want to, because one thing also, you didn't want to be too much, see too much of the same suit. She had to change up every now and then.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's worth it, but it is a lot.
hmm And okay, when you turned pro back in 2021, what was that feeling when they say like now, you are now IFBB pro?
No, it was a great feeling. It was a really great feeling. It was almost kind of like a relief, because it's just so much goes into these shows, the training and everything like that. So it was exciting and it was a relief. Although I will admit, because I was kind of so new in getting into this after being pretty successful in another sport, I wasn't like the crying that some people do, which I could totally understand. Being years in pursuit of this. And building muscle for this. I felt a little fortunate in that I was kind of distracted building muscle, doing something else. So then, it was like a main focus of just building the muscle, so yeah, it was a great feeling. It was a great show. I loved everything about it. It's very great memories for me.
Yeah, because I know a lady who competed that show. She got a pro card. I know Chelsea Dion. She was there. That's when she got a pro card that year. Big fan of Chelsea, and she's still doing pretty good. And it's a lot of work. People don't understand. There's a lot of work to be in a bodybuilder. It's not as a lot of people. The mindset of most everyday people is like, okay, I pop this, I pop that, I take this, steroids, this, that, and I just do this, do that. No, you have to be consistent. You have to follow a diet. You have to follow a plan. I know there's days where you get up in the morning. What's your regimen in the morning for yourself when you start the day?
Oh, well, taking in my electrolytes, I weigh myself in the morning to see, the fluctuations, if there is any. I go on my walk in the morning to get my steps in. It's definitely a lifestyle, and that's the thing about being a pro. And really, if you want to be a competitive pro, it's like, it's not just about the prep. It's like all year round, really, that you have to keep up with everything, check off all the boxes, which, you have to be very, very disciplined. And I think that's what I like most about bodybuilding is it's not something that just anybody can do for a number of reasons, discipline being one of them. And that was kind of like a relief for me in a way, because with powerlifting, it's like, pretty much anybody could do powerlifting. If you just train for a few weeks, and I don't know what you're going to end up doing on the platform, but you could still compete, you could still do it. With bodybuilding, it's like, just to get on that stage, it's like you have to be dieted down to a certain point. At least you have to do certain things, to even get to the stage. So again, I am that kind of person that I like to do things that haven't been done or that are difficult to do. Like, I like to be like, hold my beer, I'm going to do that. And for me, I feel like that's bodybuilding for me.
So you're the type of person you like. My partner would say like you like anarchy and chaos. There's no order. Whatever doesn't make you stronger, make you stranger. You are just like I said. And oh yeah, before I go, Blanca, I want to tell you, you are beautiful. I'm sorry, he can't help himself. He comes in,
I don't
but
blame
yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's a lot to this sport if you got to understand. There's like one thing is also sacrifices, like
you.
especially like there's times where you have friends and sometimes you lose friends because you are changing your life. You may not go out like you used to. Like, okay, you're like, hey, Blanca, like, we're going to the bar and we'll drink some beer. You want to come? We're going to do this. You're going to do that. And there's a lot of things you got to give up if you want to succeed in this sport.
Oh yeah. I feel very fortunate that I've surrounded myself around others that are on the same mission. Like, even if they're not competitive bodybuilders, they live that lifestyle, they're coaches, they're healthy people that, their idea of a night out doesn't necessarily mean going out to a bar or a restaurant. And that's great because, I used to be that person years ago where that was my hobby, was to go drink and eat like most people. And now I feel so fortunate that I found something that's opened up, a new life for me and a healthy life because, yes, preparing for the stage is very extreme and it's not healthy to get down to that body fat. However, the bodybuilding lifestyle, especially during an off season and stuff like that, that it is a very, very healthy lifestyle. You know, it's improved my health, not just physically, but mentally. So I feel fortunate now that I could say, you know, an idea, you know, for me, a good time is, you know, maybe going on a walk or, you know, doing something else that doesn't involve eating and drinking. And I used to be a big drinker, I mean, years ago. So it's like almost surreal just to realize that I don't really drink anymore.
Yeah, I have family members that they love drinking. I never been a taste for the stuff. I used to work around it. I never had a taste for it. But you know, I do have a taste for food. But I do know how to. I know say win. But sometimes there's some things that, especially when it comes to food, it can get you. What was that thing at your last competition that was calling you? That thing you wanted the most. That thing that just you couldn't deny yourself.
Well, I was dreaming about pizza and burgers. That's usually my go-to. That's my post-show meal is always a burger and fries.
Yeah, that's usually
So,
the most
yeah,
popular one.
you know, and I, you know, having that restraint and discipline, you know, you enjoy it more because, you know, anytime I'm in an off season, I'm having, you know, free meals every week. You know, it's good for a while, but then after a while, you kind of like don't really appreciate it as much. But, you know, once you've been dieting for so long and then you treat yourself to these things, you know, it tastes that much better. And then you really realize your body feels kind of a certain way after eating it. And you're like, okay, I need to eat this in moderation.
Yeah, I mean, one time I was like, this was like about last year. My nephew, I had a doctor's appointment. I go see my cardiologist because I have a pacemaker. I go to him every 2 times out of the year. And my nephew said, "Well, it was around about Mother's Day." He said, "Okay, you need me to pick up some stuff for because his mother is my older sister, and my mother passed away like about before years of summer." And he went and told me, "Go pick up these stuff because we need stuff for." Okay, I said, "Okay." I pick a few things. Couldn't find it. So you know what? I was getting hungry. I said, "You know what? This is a Chinese restaurant. I love Chinese food. I'm a Chinese loving whore. I can't help it." And I stopped there and had a buffet, and I ate it, and then it just didn't really set for me like it used to. I don't, I don't like eat like a bodybuilder. I eat still like, like a little juggling now and then, but still, like before here, I had some rice and vegetables with a steak, and I try to eat healthy, but still I eat, like this afternoon I had a hot dog, but it's really one thing about for food, it can be a weapon and a tool for a bodybuilder.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I feel like you really are what you eat, you know. So the fact that I eat super clean now, and I feel that, and it allows me to do the things that I do physically, and most of the time, even when I was powerlifting, like I said, I was eating like a bodybuilder, and I feel like that was really key in accomplishing the things that I was able to do.
hmm Yeah, you have to be determined. You have to make decisions that, especially to sacrifice a lot of your time, a lot of things that you want to do, but because this is, like I said again, this is a tough sport, and it's not for everybody. You have to make decision when you get into sport that there's some things you have to give up for exchange to if you want to get that, especially you want to go to like a show like the Olympia. That's when you get started with the big dogs. Folks, while I was researching a little bit on Blanca, I found this video. And she's interview she did. It's like not much long, but you want to check it out, and we're gonna pull it up here. And because like I said, whenever I do an interview, try to find information, research people. This is what my master taught me: always be aware of surroundings at all time, young Master Wayne. Never give a chill feeling for a killing blow. So we're gonna pull the video up here, and we're gonna check it out, and give you thoughts. And here you go.
Really like digesting and starting to appreciate and acknowledge all of my accomplishments in powerlifting. As any top level athlete in any sport really will tell you is you don't really when you achieve something, like for a moment, you're happy and you're excited and you're proud, but there's always like the next thing. You're like, okay, well, I pulled 500. Well, the next meet, I'm going to pull this. Or, once you start climbing the rankings, especially you start seeing, your name, you get higher and higher. And I think that's the cause of a lot of burnout for athletes. And, it's happened to me, and it's happened to, I think, most of the women that have reached, the top of the weight classes is, you end up competing multiple times a year. You don't give yourself enough time in the off season, not just to build physically, but mentally.
Yeah, that's a good point, because one thing is, it's important to step back, because you only have one body, and it takes a lot to do what you men and women do. I know or like, how often you go to the gym during the week, or is it like
5 days.
like this, and you're like, your days off is like Saturday and Sundays, or you just pick a day
I do
every now and
Thursday
then.
and Sunday.
Thursday, Sunday, yeah. And not much to do on Thursday. Where I live, Sunday is not much to do, because where I live in a very small town. It's like dead earth sometimes on Sunday. And to commit yourself to something like this, it's a lot. I don't know. I know people who say that they do the sport for a passion. Because you remember one thing, bodybuilding is not a very lucrative sport. It's not a lot of money in it. And you just saw recently, what's his name, the Manion boy. He just announced that they're going to add on more prize money for men's bodybuilding. And I made a comment saying, like, well, it's just going to help all the athletes, because this is actually men's bodybuilding. This is like, if you know anything about the Pippin game, men's bodybuilding is the bottom bitch. They're the ones bringing the money for the IFBB. But I think all of the divisions should get a little piece, because you got to think about it. If you get a show, like you do a show, you win, you get, if you're lucky, $5,000. That barely covers the cost of your suits, everything else. You're like this. You're like, if you remember the movie Incredibles, where the part where Bob is talking to his boss says, "It's your job to keep us in the black," which means keep money in the pocket of the insurance company. But you ladies are you're more like competing in the red.
Yeah, no, that was a huge kind of like almost like a shock to me when I transitioned over from powerlifting, because I was winning some money in powerlifting. I think the most I ever won at a show was like almost $5,000. And that was pretty much all in my pocket, because the cost was really of me just flying out there and staying at a hotel, and then my singlet, which wasn't much, and my sponsor was covering that. So really it was like, that was money for me. Whereas now, if I were to win $5,000 at a bodybuilding show, I mean, that's just scratching the surface. I mean, it's really just paying most of my costs of the show.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I say a lot of the ladies after the show, they do is, this is what I know this is what they call them. The photo sessions for some of these like her biceps, muscle girls, live. Also, there's muscle angels, as we supposed to call them, the beat the meat websites. That's what they are. Yeah, because and it's a way to make income. And a lot of ladies, I know something you would do yourself. They do the OnlyFans, they do a lot of the live stuff, also do sessions. Because if you have a good job where it could, okay, you know what, it helps me, pay for everything. But the thing like this, it's a lot of money you put into the sport. And it's, other than maybe going to Olympia if you win, or you get like a few $1,000s, it's still, not much. If you're lucky enough to have sponsors, because sponsorship does help. You have sponsors, or it's just all on you?
Right now, I don't have any. In 2022, I was sponsored by Black Magic Supply. There's a supplement company, and I was actually surprised at what they were covering. I mean, they were covering 2 of my shows per year, expenses, and even a little bit of a stipend for those shows. On top of I think it was like whatever they gave me each month in supplements, which was more than enough. I mean, it was more than I needed. So that's all, and I had that for like about a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good that they helped you out. Maybe somebody be issues, because I know one person who I'm a fan of, who had a program, and you should have expanded it more also to the other division, like especially physique. That's Jake Wood. And excuse me, I gotta say this every time I say his name. Yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. Every time I don't know a lot of guys named Jake, so anytime I have to do this every training day, when Jake got a lot of money,
It's a
and
great movie.
yeah, and if I was like, if there's like, a lot of ladies can use sponsorship, because but it's easier for like for the men's division. It's easier for bikini and wellness, because they fit the criteria of what people want to see. They like, and also that there always to be a femininity, as A lot of ladies don't want to go with the women's bodybuilding because they feel like I might get that femininity. But then there's some women who are just as if you were there with Natalia at the Atlantic show. She is huge. I saw her. She was there was a seminar in Orlando. She was standing on stage posing with Andrea Shaw. Andrea is my Andrea is my favorite. I'm a fan of Andrea Shaw. I mean, she's just an amazing woman.
Beautiful.
I think yeah. This is a while back. A lady I did an interview with. Her name is Eunice Martinez Kitchen. She was there at the Olympia. She got the issue of the Andrea for muscle development. She had Andrea sign it for me, autographed it. She sent it like a couple of days after my birthday. And what I hear about Andrea, she's just a great lady. I'm gonna do this for a little second because this is a picture. This is my. I have a partner who do live stream together. He's a real cool guy. He's an IFBB pro bodybuilder. And a while back, he was with Andrea. Him and his wife, Tina or Williams. They were in Detroit with Andrea, and he was there with Andrea right here. And I keep telling him, don't send me that because he gets me jealous. He got his hands on my woman, Blanca. He just I'm trying to say calm.
How dare he?
How dare he was my brother. I love him, he's my brother, but he has my look. It's teasing you. Say, yeah, I got your girl, George, but you got a wife, Keith. You got a wife. And, sorry, I'm sorry. I just, that's that part of me came out. This is a comment from Lawrence. He says this. It says, including bodybuilders, be on TV show like Maury as well. Yeah.
Maury, that's a controversial show to be on.
He's still on. I mean, the baby daddy thing, like say, George, you are not the daddy. Yeah, and the girl's like, I know the daddy. Girl, the baby is white. How can he be the daddy? He's black. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I used to like Montel Williams was a big fan about it. He had people like Linda Murray, Laura Craval on his show. Jimmy Jones used to have bodybuilders on there. Is there anybody in the sport you admire, who you follow, that you really are a fan of?
In bodybuilding?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I've ever really been asked that before. To be honest with you, there's a lot of competitors that in women's physique that I really admire. Katie Younger is one of them, and we competed with each other or against each other in Tampa Pro 22. And like she's a mom. I think she has like 2 twins and like a total of 3 kids. So to me, I'm just like amazed to see her. She's a coach as well. So she's a coach. She's a mom of 3 kids, 2 being twins. And then she's a competitor on top of it. I mean, to me, it's like, if I ever think I'm busy during a day, I just have to think about what she's doing because she has so many things going on. So to be honest, a lot of my competitors, I really admire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I do some interviews with ladies who have families, have kids, have husbands. I know one lady. I think Glenn did interview one lady. Not Glenn. I mean, David from Female Body Form. We did interview one lady who has 5 sons. I interview a lady Tony McMurtry. She has 4 sons. I mean, they're grown now, but it's a lot. You got to think about it. There's times where the money you put into this competing, you could maybe spend it with your kids, but you know what? If you have a passion for something, you can find a way.
Yeah. But I mean, really, like to be in prep like that with all these boxes to check off, I think that to me, not just financially, but it's also like the time to be able to do all that and then spend time with your children and your husband or whatever. And then also it's like, sometimes you're not in the best mood when you're calorie restricted and peeled. So it's like, you can't, take that out on your kids, and it's easier for someone like me that I don't have children to worry about or a husband or anything like that. I could just focus on myself. So, in that regard, I'm just like, I don't know how they do it. So I admire that.
Yeah, I admire that. This is from Man Balls Z. He says this about you. He says, she's sexy and swole as AF.
Oh yeah,
and,
definitely cool.
you got a little pose. You got a little pose for you, little schmo. So okay. So cut back the tissue and the lotion, so you're good. So and yeah, guys love that. We love when you ladies how you build your bodies. It's just something like one thing the everyday person does not think that women can be appealing. I do a thing called comparison videos. I just did one called Flex the Sex Appeal, where I compare women and talk about them. There's just a beauty about you women. You're just something. You're different. compared to the standard, because I'm North Carolina, I'm in the South. Women are a little bit more figured, more rounder, a little more shapelier. We have women a little leaner, a little thinner, but then you women in the bodybuilding world are just something different. And I know when you're out in public, what's it like for you when you're out and about? Because you're in Florida, where the weather's a little better. You can probably wear a tank top almost every day. But what's that for you when you're out there in the
Yeah.
world?
Well, definitely when I'm in prep, I mean, I get comments all the time. Usually people are just almost like amazed and curious. So I'm at the grocery store, constantly, being talked to and asked, "Oh, what do you eat?" And people are very curious about the bodybuilding lifestyle, like what I eat. And they're actually surprised at how much I do eat. Like the other day, I bought a couple of cookies to treat myself since I'm in my off season, and the cashier was like looking at me and like, you eat this? It's like, yeah, I do enjoy cookies every once in a while. In the off season, I get less commentary, but I think I'm at the size now where whether I'm in season or in off season, I forget how I look. I again, it's that body dysmorphia of like you're never big enough, so you think you're like everybody else, but then when I'm out, then people will be looking at me or whatnot, or asking me questions and making comments, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I look a little different.
Yeah, because I think that's one thing about the body dysmorphia, how you're changing your body. I know some ladies who have dealt with something like food addiction. Some people deal with the mental health aspect of the body, but people got to understand because you're changing your body. You're changing for something that is like I've seen women who said they were like skinny, and then they're built up, their muscles are growing, they're developing, and your mind and your body is two things have to work together because if one's not working, the other one's not going to work with it.
Yeah. It's a lot, you have to have those boundaries too. And in your off season, and even, I allow myself to eat certain things and not have like an emotional attachment to it, because, it can be a very slippery slope. I mean, I'm grateful that I never had any issues with, eating disorders before, but I could definitely see how this, could, create those issues, or, trigger people. So it's tough. And, I'm at a point now where I can appreciate, the extra fat in the off season, really appreciate my body in both ways, when I'm shredded and when I'm not. But it's a journey for everybody. It took me a minute to get here, and everybody's kind of like on their own journey with that. So.
Yeah. So this is a good question. What's the plan for 2024? The list is already out. They read the updated. I've talked about how Women's Bodybuilding has fewer shows. Physique has picked up a few more shows this year. So are you just going to say, I'm just sit and just chill out, or you feel like you want to hit another show?
No, I feel like I've got a couple years to really give bodybuilding my all, because I am 40, so realistically, I'm not 20 anymore, or 30. So and I have been competing, in other sports. So I realize that I have kind of like a window of time now to really, really push for this. So I do intend on competing this year. I'm looking at Tampa Pro. I would like to do a Tampa Pro again. It's right here in my backyard, so it's hard not to do that. So if the body cooperates and I have a good prep, which I'm probably going to start in April with a prep, it'll be Tampa Pro. And I do want to do another show that it looks like maybe Daytona again, but actually doing women's physique at Daytona.
Yes, I know a lady who we are confronted with, Jada. She made a return after she was in bodybuilding, and she took a year off, and she competed at the Daytona. It's a show where it's one of the shows where, like I said again, it's I think starting to become a popular show because also it's a master show because you are over 40. You can compete in masters if you want, and there was the Masters Olympia last year. They say it's supposed to come next year. So, would you feel like you want to do both Masters and Open, or you feel like I'm just going to stick with Open?
I think I'm going to stick with Open. Yeah, I think I'm just going to focus on that. I mean, as some opportunities, come up, and maybe if like the Masters Olympia, I mean, who knows? At this point, I can't say never. But for right now, my focus is the Open, women's physique, and really kind of giving that my all. And this is actually the first off season that I'm really doing everything that I have to do, because I mean, I'll be honest, I've never checked all the boxes in the off season, like practicing my posing in the off season, prioritizing my weak areas, not training legs because I like it, and really taking a lot of the powerlifting movements out of my training and focusing on those isolation movements for the weak areas. Again, and now I have enough data to really, bring in the conditioning that I want to bring while keeping my size. So I'm actually really excited for this upcoming year, this season, because this is really like 100% effort on my part, doing everything I need to do.
Yeah. Are you working with a posing coach? Like say posing is your weakness. Are you working with a posing coach?
Yeah, well, right now, currently in my off season, I'm kind of just, practicing on my own, but I did, hire Christina Mendoza, which she did, fantastic job, prepping me with my posing for figure, which, I had never done anything in heels. That was my first time, I didn't even know how to walk in the heels. So, we did some virtual sessions for figure, and, she got me at a good point that I felt at least comfortable on stage. My whole goal was like, don't fall. That was my goal, not to fall. But no, it went well. I was happy with the posing for figure. And then I worked with her for the Atlantic Coast Pro, which she kind of tweaked my women's physique posing, which, believe it or not, that time away actually improved my poses. When I started doing them again, I was like, wow, this is looking a lot better. I'm flowing better. I really then fell in love with the posing because it was the first time ever creating a night routine on my own. The routine for the night show, I had never done it on my own, and I actually choreographed it, and it felt amazing because it was mine. It was mine. So I think going forward, I'll probably continue doing my own evening routine. But Christina did a great job with the posing, so I intend on using her for this season once I start prepping.
Well, shout out to Christina Mendoza. We hope she can make a comeback next year because last year she had some medical issues. She had to step back. She missed the Olympia. She might, if she gets the right show. She did Chicago last year. We got a qualification. Shout out to Tim Gardner, who I was hearing people saying they may not be women's bodybuilding at the Chicago Pro, but thanks to him, it's still there. Shout out to him. He's the promoter for the Tampa Bay Pro. Shout out to him as again. And yeah, I think that if you are determined to do what you want to do in the sport, if you can think, if you're able to get to that next level, because it's going to be tough, because you have to deal with women who compete for a long time. You have to, except again, as the division is starting to evolve, it's getting closer to women's bodybuilding more as physique. I was a big fan of physique when it first came out. I call it watered down women's bodybuilding, but I've interviewed ladies like you in the division, and also ladies in figure, and I really, really want to get the understanding of like I say, I'm a super smoke. But I from my interviews with you ladies, I learned some stuff. What it takes to be a competitor? It's tough. It's a lot of time, a lot of money, and so much sacrifices. And I think there should be more for you as a competitor, like benefits. Like, okay, if something happens, you get sick. Okay, you're taken care of. I mean, if you pay like $300 some every year for your pro card, maybe that should go into something like a go, like not go, a 401k or something. Those little things that can help, especially take the burden off you competitors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one can only hope.
Yeah, it's going to cost you.
I gotta say, there's not, as you say, there's not much money in bodybuilding, but there was even less in powerlifting. So, that's one thing that I'm grateful to be in this sport now, is because there was a lot of stuff that you weren't even getting in like the powerlifting community. Even just having this fan following and things like that. And there's a lot more. So although it could be better, at least I appreciate what we have right now. But yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the competitors could be, helped a little in that regard.
Yeah. Well, folks, we don't hold too much longer. We do appreciate your time. I remember one time I was doing a live stream with somebody. She told me, George, you do Cuban goodbyes. We have a Cuban right here, so I think she might know the difference between Cuban goodbyes and regular goodbyes. But I think this is my mindset. I think you ladies deserve just as much credit as the men do. You, like I said, you sacrifice a lot to be an athlete in this sport. One thing is also, people out there who's interested in maybe sponsoring Blanca, her social media stuff in the description. If you were interested in sponsoring her as an athlete, but I know there's guys out there. You said, Blanca, you're a pretty little mamacita. Yeah, I don't even like you. You think you can. No, stop that. Stop that. Don't do that. Say like, Mr. Rodriguez, we have a plan for you. We want to help you along the way as an athlete. So if you're interested with our plan, we'll set you up, we'll take care of anything you need, and we just want to see you grow as an athlete. That's what these women will want. I know you guys out there, as I said again, when you ladies rock hard, we're rock hard. But at the same time, realize these are women. They are athletes and they need to be respected. If you have genuine interest in this person to grow in your process, set a plan. Don't be looking for something. Don't be that particular guy, a particular type of criminal. He's an agent of chaos. He loves you, ladies. He like just, and sometimes there's also this blocker. When you do something, never do it for free. So, I'm sorry, he has to come out. So anyway, before we let you go, madam, what would you like to see for yourself as a competitor in the sport of bodybuilding? What would you like to see you for yourself to grow or to advance in this sport?
You know, for me, I'm doing this because I just truly love it. I love the lifestyle. And for me, as long as I step on stage looking better than I did the previous time and having made it through the prep, which, again, there's so much that you learn during a prep. I mean, prep changes you, and these are things that you could apply to your life, discipline, consistency, things like that, overcoming challenges, because there's usually challenges during a prep. So, really, I mean, I just enjoy just getting up there, having done it. And as long as that I am a better person mentally and physically than the last time that I competed on stage, then for me, that's all I really want out of this. So whatever else that comes is just bonus for me.
Mhm. Well, we wish you all the best of luck for this year. I hope that you get opportunity. Maybe the right show, you get to step on the big dogs, get on the big stage. As you know, the Olympia is no longer in your neck of the woods. They moved it back to Vegas.
Back to Vegas,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I know some ladies, they like the land a lot better because, especially some women who have kids, they want, family, they can do a little more, but in Vegas is a little bit more adult. So, but hey, it's a very popular venue for many years. So before I let you go, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to, just appreciation?
Just all my followers and my supporters, because all like the comments, the love, the support, it means the world to me. Every comment that someone leaves, like, I appreciate it. That's another reason why I do this, is to inspire people, to motivate people, to be like, you can do this too if you want to. And just, even if I brighten somebody's day or teach them something that they didn't know before. So I really want to thank my supporters for everything.
Well, people, we would like to say thank her for her time. We wish her all the best of luck in this upcoming season. Women like this, they deserve support. If you are, and said again, if you're someone genuinely interested, and said again, Blanca's information is in the description. If you're interested, if you have a plan that you work with her, send it out to. But guys, I keep telling you guys this, Blanca. I, I, I don't know. Maybe I'm not doing no good by saying this, but guys, no D pics.
Yeah,
Stop
no,
it.
none of that.
Yeah, women don't like that. It's better to give a woman a silk glove than an iron fist. Come on.
Yeah, men and
So
women are different in that regard.
yeah, guys. I think because what we got between ladies, we think that's the only thing we get. We're like, hey, we got this, but but that's just not. But man, we're the same species, but we're different breeds of species.
Yep.
The mindset of men and women are totally different. But we got to understand, women, they like a soft touch, guys. Be genuine, support, show love. I know the guys out there who say you be hating, like, hey, you want to be like a man. It be guys out there who boobies like I have. We talking about that.
Yeah, they're
No,
just insecure.
yeah, insecure. If you're a man who realize, hey, this is a woman, she's doing what she wants to do, and and what you can't compare what men do, what women do. We're totally different, and you
Mm-hmm.
got to accept that. So also I want to shout out to people who came through. My man Lawrence Perkins, Balls Deep, KL the Wanderer, my man Omar Acosta, who came in here. Anybody who watched this video, comment, subscribe, share the video, follow me and Blanca on social media. If you're in, like, also out there, if you see Blanca out and about and you see her like getting gas, hey, pay for her gas. If she's getting coffee, buy her some coffee. Don't be looking for something. Just say you want to help an athlete on their progress to the next level.
Yeah, every little bit helps.
Every little helps.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and just talking about myself and my journey and my story, and hearing you as well. So thank you again for having me.
Well, this is my favorite quote from my favorite movie, Batman Begins. At the end, when Jim Gordon, just played by played by uh what's the actor's name? I know his name back in my head. Where he says to Batman, I said, I forgot to thank you. And Batman turns around and says to him, you never have to. Because like I said, this is something I have a small channel, but I love giving ladies a voice. There's not enough of us out there. Like there's Dee Dee on the spot. There's David over at Female Bodyman Forum. There's the Female Bodyman channel. There's my man KL. We want to give your ladies a voice. You deserve a voice because you know what? If you go on YouTube, most of it's going to be focused on the men's divisions and bikini because, like I said again, the teenage division is always going to get more attention than you ladies who really put more time and work into the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's appreciated. Yeah, having to deal with all that stuff is fine. Having this, fan support and all these accounts, really like pumping us up and being there for us. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you and wish you best of luck. So, folks, I said again, if you want to follow Blanca, her social media stuff in the description. You know my rules, guys. I know you guys. She's attractive young lady. Can't believe she's 40. I'm 49. I'm already look like I got two bad knees. I still cool Steve Austin. I got gray in my beard. But support these ladies like Blanca. All these men and women in the sport. Give them the opportunity. Also, if you're a sponsor out there, these athletes can use the help, especially for these ladies. If you can pay for maybe a couple posing suits, do this, do that. Those things help in the long run. So, anyway, folks, we'd like to thank Blanca again. We'd like to appreciate you coming through. Share, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out and support these men and women sport bodybuilders. This is your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. Don't like, subscribe. We're out. Good evening and good night.
Awesome. Good night. Have a good one. Thank
you. You're welcome.